Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting and everything amazing Propagandacast with me, your host, ImperialDane. The one and only master propaganda of it a 1v1 on road to Tunis. In the east stands the one and only ImperialDane himself, fighting for the Wehrmacht of Germany, Deutschland. Here with the Fallschirmbrigade Ramke in northwest stands Reakly, fighting for America, freedom, democracy, and liberty. Here with the 1st Infantry Division. Straight into a Luftwaffe with Fallschirm Pioneer and a Kedenkrat in a rare case for me. Partly because I do think you can sort of make the work on road to Tunis, and partly because I'm trying to get better with Kedenkrats. Though part of me must admit, I probably know will get good with Kedenkrats. Looking at Reakly here, though, we got a straight into armor move here with fast deploying veteran crews. Though, interesting enough, we're not actually seeing an early Jeep here, which otherwise would be very good at shutting down my Kedenkrat here. So, all the way drop right from here for Reakly, setting out there north and south for freedom, democracy. And I'm also largely in the same directions, of course, with the Fallschirm Pioneer dropping straight of the fuel, and the Kedenkrat rushing straight for the munitions point to then connect. Going up here, so a bit more aggressive from here, of course, courtesy of the Fallschirm Pioneer. South Pioneer's busy. There's always a big hearty thanks to my patron supporters for the continued and generous support of the Propagandacaster, allowing me to keep making all these wonderful videos, day after day, week after week, month after month. So, steady advance there on both sides. Fallschirm Pioneer up north. The Fallschirmbrigade Ramke was the only real Luftwaffe Fallschirm unit that actually fought in North Africa. That's a fun little fact there. So, first engage up north here, Scouts versus Fallschirm Pioneer. Fallschirm Pioneer getting some hits here, but so the Scouts, we got Rapid arriving here, turning the tide in on the engagement in favour of Reakly very quickly. Fallschirm Pioneer, they're trying to fall back, but overall, I probably should just retreat right here rather than keep fighting this engagement, but I'm hoping to get in at least a few model drops here, though so far, Reakly just doesn't drop. Oh, actually dropped one there, but the Fallschirm Pioneer end up taking a lot more damage, and we'll have to withdraw here. Likely going to lose one more man on retreat here. Yup, down to 2. In the center, Kedenkrat shifting in there. In the far south, we got the Pioneer Squad moving in there. Grenadiers arriving here in part to support the Fallschirm Pioneer, but also future elite troops by having a bit of access to merge there. Is sort of the idea there. Scout seizing the point here. And there we go, dropping in a Fallschirm Pioneer squad nearby the Grenadiers. Kedenkrat going for the calf point here, trying to, harass and mess with the Reakly supply line, but the rival squad nearby very much makes this very difficult for me. And then I'll rush into another rival squad and I almost lose the Kedenkrat here, but through sheer luck, somehow my Kedenkrat does not explode. I was actually quite amazed at that. So pushing north as the Grenadiers, backed up with the Fallschirm Pioneer. Rival squad, of course, looking to stand their ground for freedom, democracy, not allowing those crats to get that northern. Big chip on there you go. We actually got a grenade off here, killing poor Reinhardt there. Exploding him. Fallschirm Pioneer closing in. Fallschirm Pioneer going to the car point here, fighting against the Scouts. Up north, Rifleman pushed off the point here, and the Scouts also forced to withdraw in the face of the Fallschirm Pioneer. Back here, Kedenkrat in heavy need repairs there, and we also got the Panzer Grenadier Company going up for me. As for Reakly, we got a medical station there to provide healing and reinforcements to his men, and of course casualty recovery there. Because of course healthcare isn't free, so they gotta work it off again, the lousy bastards. Northern points being seized, otherwise a bit of quiet here in the south. We can see Reakly and the 1st Infantry Division, 2nd Company moving out. Kedenkrat another again there for the fast line, adding the communication cables there for a bit of, well, attempts at, securing myself a bit of extra resource here and there. And there we go, we got the infantry support center going up here for Reakly, providing course with the captain, plus bonuses for his infantry, though it is worth noting he's only gone for 3 rifle squads, not 4. You typically, I think, see players with this kind of build here go for 4 rifle squads, yes, can still leverage that a bit extra hard here. Kedenkrat rushing northwards. Flying around sends the Pioneers, spot the Riflemen, of course, lack the arms to really seriously threaten the Riflemen. Fallschirm Pioneer being dispatched southwards, working in unison here against the Americans. Kedenkrat getting out there, also got some mines here, by the way, trying to sneak some mines in here and there. In part because, well, I do have a lot of units that can lay down mines. I mean, I got the true Fallschirm Pioneer, I got the Pioneers, and even the Kedenkrat can lay down mines here. So I will try to sneak down some mines here and there, though How successful that, of course, is another matter entirely. Grenades off feet, quickly dodged by the Falchion Pioneer, but the damage is nonetheless done there. Most of the Falchion Pioneer are heavily wounded. One, in fact, is about to drop dead. And proceeds to, in fact, drop dead. Ravno there, popping port on him. In the south here, Grenadiers being pushed back there. Grenade off as well here from Reakly. And he's getting most of the map. Don't Snuff is ignoring the victory points here a bit, which helps me out there, getting more of a lead, at least on that side of things. Panzer Grenadiers squad out here to sort of support this particular Luftwaffe-focused build. And Veterans 1 again, and the Falchion Pioneer willing to retreat them. They're low on health. Again, we got one case, one's about to get killed there. We got Route Squad heading on mine, almost getting wiped out. In fact, down to 19 points of health. Ken crouching on bat and gets hit by one hell of a sticky grenade there, knocking out the Kettenkrad. And the Route Squad there also gets away here, so a fair bit of good fortune there for Reakly. As he gains, again, good map control across several points. And takes out the Kettenkrad, further limiting my ability to quickly gain map control back against him. We'll have to, of course, what happens next. We get the motor pool here. No BARs. Might be planning a fast Greyhound here, which, of course, could be a problem for me. Panzer, they're pushing northwards here for the Falchion Brigade Ramke, going for the support elements. And we got the Pioneers based in the south there for the fatherland. Scouts also forced to withdraw here as the Panzer Grenadiers rush forwards with their Maschinenkarbiner Spine 40. Grenadiers holding back here, kind of forgotten by me. Also popping back to my perspective. Got the LG-40s, just in case of a fast Greyhound. One reason you are seeing more Luftwaffe in general is because people realize, hang on, this thing is pretty good versus light vehicles, which can be one of the issues actually with the Wehrmacht in the early game, which can allow you to push hard in the Panzer Grenadiers earlier on, which is also pretty good. Plus, it's not like these things are bad against tanks, they're just, you know, not amazing. Of course, for some people, not amazing automatically means bad, which is a bit of an odd way of viewing things, but there you go. Sandbags in the south, Falchion Pioneer spawn the Raft squads. Worth noting, both Falchion Pioneer squads are, well, almost Veterans 1 in one case. Quick grenade here, starting to get better dodging them. Thought there was one Veterans 1 as well, but that was my mistake there. Grenadiers bring up to support here, the Falchion Pioneer. Rifling out in the open there, easy target to the Falchion Pioneer, no sandbags here. Of course, make things tricky, got a grenade off here. I very narrowly dodge it, by the way, and then for some reason, oh yeah, I do get the bag in. You could try and breach it, and then for some reason they pop out again. Not entirely sure why there. And then I try to get them in again, and for some reason that doesn't work out, and he just walks in there. That was a bit of an odd moment. South side here, Pioneers as the Scouts. North side, Reakly and he first in to make great progress. Saddle charge here attempted, he dodges it. But certainly it ruined the interior, so it's less comfortable for them in there. My god, the goddamn Krauts! What do? They ruined the sofa. Goddamn Krauts. Yeah, he's buying a lot of time here, though. I could run the Panthers to breach the building, but there's a part of me that's a bit unsure if he's going to like keep sticking around for that long to make it worth it. In the end, he does retreat here. Captain straight to the Panzer Grenadiers there. Assault rifles versus, well, not assault rifle, and the engagement quickly turns in favor of Deutschland. Victory points still bleeding out here for Reakly as he continues not to focus particularly well on the victory points, interestingly enough. Got the first Stug out, adding a Penelbandic Maschinengewehr there, of course. Center got rifling forwards, we've got the BARs up now as well for Reakly. We got an anti-tank in reserve. He's clearly expecting the Stug. Can't imagine why. Not like I'm known for going for those. At all. Rifling going for the Stug. First shot fired there. Also got the Stuka strafing run here. This was an extra tool here because I'm very much expecting, like, you know, anti-tank on blocks. There's a part of me that wonders if, like, you know, could use the Stuka strafing run to, say, help support an assault against that. There you go, rather than getting paid to the machine gun fire. And strafing run up north here, by the way. Tried to force off the rival squad. I did do that. Would also have to maybe, like, hit some of them, but can't have everything. Looks like he might actually rush for the center victory point in the south here. Fun continues. Anti-tank grenade off. Grenadiers pushing in to assist the Sturmgeschütz here of the Falchion Brigade Ramke. Stug taking a nasty hit from the M1 anti-tank gun right in the center. And we got a second anti-tank gun out here for Reakly, followed up with an M24 Chaffee light tank. He's going pretty heavy in the anti-tank attitude, of course. Very likely, again, looking to shut down any Stug maneuvers, or at least make them significantly more painful for me to execute. Looks like he's finally going to have more than one victory point at a time, so he's in the center there as well. In the south, though, German Grenadiers pushing forwards, sandbags down, and I do try to, like, you know, sandbag as many of the points as I can get my hands on to, as you might have noticed. El Capitan moving up, you're going to go for that carve point again. Reakly moving double anti-tangans, Chaffee and Rifle southwards here. Stug being repaired, again having all these Falchion Pioneer does help expedite repairs on my assault guns. That's another advantage of these Luftwaffe builds. If you go for decent amount of Falchion Pioneers, you get decent combat troops that can also repair your stuff. Adding a Flamme over here. Scout spotted, anti-tanks moving back. You can see the Reakly is trying to like figure out where my Stug's going to hit. Carve their attacks fairly successful there for Reakly. Barely. And dropping in some Falchion Makers here south of the victory point there. That will also push him up to a fair amount of infantry, including 2 more elite assault squads there, the Panzergrenadiers and the Fallschirmjäger. Grenadier pushing after the Falchion Pioneer. I'd hoped the Grenadiers could last a bit longer with the addition of a second round squad from Reakly, of course, forcing me to withdraw. Back to Reakly. Still with 3 round squads and the captain, 2 anti-tank guns here, and of course the Chaffee. Ravner going for the Sturmgeschütz, Panzer providing support here. Anti-tank is moving backed up with the Chaffee. He's definitely hoping to knock out that Stug as rapidly as possible here. Unsurprisingly, in the south here, Fallschirmjägers fighting off the rifle and pushing them back there with FT-42s, in particular with heavy cover. The Fallschirmjägers are excellent troops there. Basically better overall DPS across all ranges compared to the Panzergrenadiers. They do lack 1 member, but again, the concept for that, you know, having very high DPS and access to Panzerfausts. There you go. Forced withdraw there. The engagement was cruising, turning sour for them. North here, Falchion Pioneer as the Chaffee here. Reakly, I feel like, could try and extend a bit more presence up there, sitting in the scouts, perhaps. Sturmgeschütz need repairs. And bring in another Stug. Because I obviously want as many as possible here. In part because at this point I've obviously deduced my opponent is going to go for armored. So a lot of my plantive calls will be made with, you know, the expectation that I'm going to get hit by a Chaffee down the road. Absolutely so. I will of course be looking to get as many Stugs as possible to, like, you know, fight back against these Chaffies whenever they do arrive. Pushing forward to the southeast and east. Again, victory points wise, Reakly is not putting too much attention into the victory points. More mines from me. South here, little flanking with the Panzergrenadiers alongside the Stug pushing through the center, forces him to pull back. Grenade here. And could have been timed or aimed a bit better with that grenade, but catching units on retreat with grenades is certainly a bit of an art there. Also note here, active merged Grenadiers previously with that Panzergrenadier squad, again helping keeping reinforcement costs down. This is why you'll see some players, again, just go for at least 1 Grenadier squad, even like more Luftwaffe heavy builds, because again, using the Grenadiers to merge is an incredibly, you know, efficient way to just help keep reinforcement costs down, or the otherwise, you know, expensive infantry. Reakly there, though, found himself being pressured more here. First infantry being attacked on several sides here by the southern fields, and we got assault troops pushing through here the fields. Reakly forced to withdraw, lacking anything to significantly screen his anti-tank guns. Even got the Stugs coming up here. Rifle being driven off. At this point, I really do feel like Reakly could have benefited earlier from some more infantry. We got here, though, survival training. Not a bad upgrade at all. He's also got munition surplus. Also a very handy upgrade. And now I have 2 Stugs. Also worth noting, I've actually researched the officer quarters upgrade here. Gets them 7-1 immediately. And of course, also ensures my Panzergrenadiers will hit that if they aren't already. Quick grenade here, rifling forced out of cover. I feel like Reakly's getting perhaps a bit too focused here, but he could actually, I think, make better progress just swing hard eastwards here now. But he's really determined to get back this carve point, no matter the cost. And I can use this to somewhat extract a slightly high toll out of him here with the Fallschirmjäger. He's in calling a strafe around, you hoping to catch his units here. Only caught 1 of the 2 rifle squads, and so I do end up retreating here, withdrawing my Fallschirmjägers before they get turned into paste. North there's local German counterattack, there falls away the men of the 1st Infantry. Sturmgeschütze falling a bit back here. As Reakly keeps up the pursuit with his Chaffee. But needs to be careful, doesn't push ahead too far, or he's going to get pelted by the assault guns. The Stug 3Gs. Which is a fun fact, even the German Fallschirmjäger divisions would have their own Stugs. Fun fact. Falling a bit back here though for now. Going for Nebelwerfers, and again, you know, he's going for double anti-tank guns. So while there definitely are a lot of areas where I think Nebelwerfers are perhaps not the most useful against an opponent with, like, you know, A-moving anti-tank guns, having a Nebelwerfer can actually be like a fairly decent way to like counter that, or at least make it a bit tougher to use. We got engineers out here for Reakly. Good for him. He's still some time away from the Sherman Easy Eight here, which is clearly his main goal here. Like, you know, a German player going straight for the Tiger tank, Reakly is going straight for the EC8. Or, you know, a German player going for the Panther. Again, like in those cases, these kinds of strategies do have weaknesses, and one of those is, of course, just hitting an opponent with more armor before they get out their more expensive armor. So, of course, in my case, that means going for a lot of StuGs. And, of course, not losing them. Which is sometimes easier said than done. Pushing the Panzer against the Scout T, Entertain's falling back again. We do finally get another rifle squad there for Reakly, but that's only after he's already lost one rifle squad, so he's clearly not intending to like have an infantry heavy build here.
One of our sectors is now in enemy hands.
There we go, Nebelwerfer ready, and of course Veterans 1 courtesy of the officer quarters, which opens up for the White Phosphorus barrage. Grenadier pushing southwards, Fallschirmjäger, Fallschirmpioneer still moving forwards as well. Again, note the merge, helps keep, again, reinforcement costs down. Fallschirmpioneer there, oh well, push back. Obviously not going to dance here with Reakly's men. Stugs hanging back here for now, need to ascertain where the anti-tank guns are and, you know, try and deal with them before pushing them in the too aggressively. I can also now, go for the infantry reserves. Chaffee again racing in here for Reakly. Stugs moving in, anti-tank reinforced rifle there. Big push again for that carve point. He really wants to keep that carve point secured no matter what. Nebelwerfer getting ready for the barrage by the looks of it. There we go. Trying to hit the anti-tank guns here. The rockets start screaming off, but by the time they... In fact, I even go for the White Phosphorus barrage here, because not only does it damage units, but it also prevents that from easy shooting in this case. So I do get the Chaffee, even though I failed to get rid of the anti-tank guns, which are honestly my main priority here. And got a third Stug out. Moving up north here, Reakly making better progress here against the Panzer Grenadiers that are just left to basically hold the entire north side of the map here against his men. Continues moving support as well here. Panzer Advechi 2, partly again thanks to the obstacle quarters upgrade, do overcome the American obstacle. In the south though, 1st Infantry Division is making better progress. Despite the loss of the Chaffee here, he's able to make excellent progress. Pushing forward to the Fallschirmpioneer. I could theoretically actually now rush in with my Stugs and destroy the anti-tank guns here. But that said, Fallschirmpioneer actually kind of go away. My intention, he starts pulling back the anti-tank guns, so my Stugs don't have the best of chance of actually catching up with them. Just able to get them there to safety, despite my Fallschirmpioneer pursuing quite aggressively there. And of course, my Stugs following up here as well. Went for the carve point there as well. Quite good harassment there. Southie, Stug flanking about it, Grenadiers engaging, Fallschirmpioneer moving up. Rather than there being sandwiched between a rock and a hard place there. Sturmgeschütze falling back, cut-off point seized there by the Americans. Fallschirmpioneer got the point here. Right moving out, and we got the EC turning out here for Reakly. Finally got it out there. But worth noting again, he's got one EC8, I got 3 Stugs. Of course, he's got 2 anti-tank guns backing up said EC8, so it's not all smooth sailing here. Fallschirmpioneer being pushed back, EC8 rushing forwards. Racing ahead here, adding the 50 cal there for extra added anti-infantry. Of course, the EC8, as you can see there, is incredibly good versus infantry. and can in many cases wipe a unit at full health even on retreat. Straight into the Sturmgeschütz here. And of course, it's already Veterans 1, courtesy of this armored battle choice there. And of course, I'm going to go for 4th Stug. Troops sending up here, north there, Fallschirmjäger falling a bit back here, Panzer sending out as well. Rifleman probing south is going to catch the Fallschirmpioneer here, which I would like to know. Actually, I haven't upgraded any of my Fallschirmpioneer. That is arguably a bit of an oversight. I've got a benefit from an upgrade there. Stugs meanwhile need repairs. Rifleman going for the center victory point. There you go, 4th Sturmgeschütz out. Finally continuing to the south here, Fallschirmpioneer versus Rifleman. Fallschirmpioneer part due to the veterans here actually slightly getting out of the Rifleman here. Easy Eight racing southward, catching the Grenadiers out in the open. North side, we also got a probing attack here from Reakly. And of course, I'll start to slowly get an idea as to what Reakly is out. I'm starting to move my Stugs into position. Fallschirmpioneer wiped by the Easy Eight. Stug gets a good shot here for the sidearm of the Easy Eight. Anti-tank is flying away there, Cap being routed. Stugs pushing in here. Infantry joining in here. Nebula getting ready to find as well. They're pushing forward. See, I'm going to ignore the anti-tank guns, leaving that to my Nebelwerfer, using the Stugs as bait to keep them in place. As the Stugs then just focus on the Easy Eight, you can notice this works out beautifully. Suddenly it's too late for him to move about. Again, he was too focused on the tasty price of the assault guns. And suddenly, both of his anti-tank gun crews are gone, and his Easy Eight has been left burning by the wayside. Back to Reakly here. So there you go. One brutally efficient push here. And of course, something about destroying the anti-tank guns. That was quite painful there for Reakly. Partly the lack of support there. What else am I supposed to go against, like an Easy Eight with anti-tanks backing it up? Like, the Easy Eight's gonna murder my infantry. Like, am I supposed to build Wirbelwinds? I can't go for Panthers Tigers, you know. Might as well go for the easy option. I'm acting in front of me, which is going for a bunch of Stugs and you're executing a proper, like, larger scale armored assault. Which just happens to be what I'm good at. You know, play to your strengths. And we got the recovery vehicle there and the war machine ability activated now. Here's what for Reakly. And he actually goes for the M31 recovery vehicle here in a surprise there. Definitely not something you see too often. Got BARs left behind there in the sands. Up north, the point being seized. 115 is 439. He's starting, I think, to perhaps realize he needs to focus a bit more on those victory points in Companies 3 compared to Companies 2. Can't as easily ignore the victory points, by the way. Nebula have a battle archer on the center, looking to keep the Americans off it, of course. Rifleman pushing northwards there. Stugs being fixed up. And I think he's actually planning here to recover the Easy Eight, which is probably cheaper than actually building a new one, to be honest. I mean, it's 270 manpower and then 63 fuel, which, even like I think the cost of this one is probably, at least manpower-wise, cheaper than just going for another Easy Eight. Fuel-wise, it's a bit more expensive, actually. But of course, the theory is going to just recover more stuff, so... But it's an interesting choice there by Reakly, an interesting choice. South here, Fallschirmpioneer as the Engineers rushing forward here. Stugs hanging back in reserve. Going for the Panzer Company. Reakly down to 100 points here. The clock is, you know, not in his favor here. Again, this is where, like, you know, his initial lack of focus on the victory points is perhaps starting to bite him a bit in the posterior. Also, at this point, I'm going to start splitting up my Stugs into two smaller groupings there to cover larger parts of the map here tactically. As I'm definitely, though, not expecting him to recover his own Easy Eight. Did not see that one coming. North here, another push here for Reakly in the first invasion, looking to claim that victory point from the German army. Stugs being sent northwards here. Launching pulled back into reserve there, so again, I'm ready for whatever Reakly might expect, Paul, because again, I'm definitely expecting more Easy Eights. The question, of course, is just how am I expecting them? Because I'm definitely not expecting to recover them. Pushing north. He's actually bunching up his troops here, which is tactically a bit of a mistake. Then in front of StuGs Vector 1 there, go point blank blast. Finish off his men here. The assault units get murdered. The captain there is about to join in as well there in the afterlife. In the face of the Panzergrenadier and the Sturmgeschütze.
Get the wounded out of there! Down to only 50 points!
50 points left here for Reakly. The clock is ticking. Meanwhile, got the Panzer Company up.
They pushed us off the sector.
Got another point blank blast here. Because it's a great ability, actually popping it twice here to make sure these riflemen die. Easy actually recovered now here for Reakly. Same for as the Fallschirmjäger, got the StuGs pushing centerwards. Yeah, the situation for Reakly is definitely a lot less great. He's also running up infantry more and more here. Down in just 2 rifle squadsmen against the captain. Plus, of course, the scouts. Meanwhile, I've got a fair amount of infantry. And, of course, I've got a lot of Sturmgeschütze. South here, scouts ground the point, going for the Southern Victor point. Got the armored sides, gets up the Stug, because of course I go for armored sides, go to my Stugs if I ever can. And he's using the BR. Look at this, Arthur! I've got an amerikanische Maschinengewehr! Ah, don't point that thing at me. You never know how these things might actually go off accidentally. But there you go, easy on the move here for Reakly. Hammering the Fallschirmjäger by the southern point. And loading up my troops here, the assault troops on my Stugs in the more towards the center. Going to launch an assault towards here. Flank the Easy Eight. And launch a lot of infantry of the higher quality there as I'm pushing up with the other set of Stugs there from the front. Certainly something I also do enjoy. Incoming his fleet is actually executing larger scale armored attacks like this. But you just never could really make work in companies too. There you go, 4 Stugs setting upon the Easy Eight here. No matter Brad Pitts will save you from the Sturmgeschütze. Now then taking over Reakly as well. Fallschirmjägers, Panzer supporting here. By this point, the situation for Reakly is looking pretty not good. His men are dying in their large numbers. His M31 there is getting pulverized as well by the assault guns. The Panzers, the Fallschirmjägers also making it pretty short work with his forces. Stu's getting hit here. We got 1 at the ace level, by the way. 17 kills. 3 vehicle kills. That is one hell of a Stug.
Sector now under enemy control.
Heading north to the Fallschirmjäger. Going for some more pioneers, but there you go. GG. GG. So there you go. Bit of a shorter match there. Bit of a highlight, mostly just, you know, the power Stugs when used correctly. Certainly not all maps I think will make this work. Road to Tunis is definitely one of those maps. Can make it work. But again, it highlights also a bit, he's a bit like, you know, how, you know, German players need to be careful. They just go straight for the Tiger tank or the Panther like that. Similarly, in the hands like of a smart opponent, you know, going for an EC8 like Reakly here did also carries a significant amount of risk, at which point you do risk, you know, getting hammered by a lot of Stugs. As an example, of course, you could also try and push for Panther 4s, but the Stugs would be at least, you know, have a bit more niceness. There, that's it. I think definitely Reakly could have done better, you know, focus more on the victory points. That could have bought him more time. More infantry early on, I think, would also been a very good idea there for Reakly, and maybe also some of these upgrades soon as well there could have done something for Reakly as well. There's definitely some, you know, timing so that maybe could have been improved upon to give him more room against me. But certainly, again, think, you know, buying more time with the victory points, but also gone a long way there for him. So, hope you enjoyed this match. I learned something from it. Hope it gives you some matches. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment. You can also support the Propagandacaster by donating or pledging on Patreon. Links are in the video description. This is ImperialDane. Cheers, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye, everyone.